When I was little and we used to move all the time, I would write these notes and I would fold them up really small and I would hide them.
What'd they say?
They were just like things I wanted to remember so that if I ever wanted to go back, there'd be a piece of me there waiting.
What is it you like about this house so much?
History?
No place like home. That's a business.
A writer writes a novel. A songwriter writes a song. We do what we can to endure.
She found someone else. Leave me
We build our legacy piece by piece, and maybe the whole world will remember you, or maybe just a couple of people, but you do what you can to make sure you're still around after you're gone.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of any major corporation whatsoever.
Welcome to the Pope on Film. I am Bunny Williams, and with me is
Reverend Steve. I am the founder of the Church of Ed Wood, father of various children, lover, poet,
yes,
raconteur, man about town, amateur astrologer.
Yeah.
Meaning, I've looked in the sky a couple of times.
Yeah.
And this is episode 173 of the podcast. Very excited about that. We've got so much to talk about. We need to talk about a specific type of spider. We need to talk about Odin.
Yes.
We need to talk about, let me go through my notes here, Boy George.
Okay.
We need to talk about a stop going through the mail, Eleanor. Stop going through things. Stop. You're not getting mail yet.
Ask her if she's going to pay the bills. If she's going to pay the bills, then she can go through the mail.
We're going to talk about the Disney film Captain EO and the Blob. We're going to be talking about Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. We're going to be talking about Pete's Dragon. We're going to be talking about a fetish I may or may not have invented. I'm very excited about it. We have a lot to talk about, but before we get to that, Bunny, before we get to anything else in the podcast, Eleanor, stop going through paper. Stop. I don't need any of those papers. Okay. Stop going through the mail. Stop going through paper. Okay, please. Thank you. Why don't you see what Maxwell's doing? Here, give Maxwell this. It's very important. Okay? Give that to him. Bunny, before we start this week's episode of the podcast, I'd like to really quick
Yes.
to just get all of the legal mumbo jumbo out of the way really quick. There's always a bunch of legal stuff we got to go through in the beginning of every podcast, as you know. If you're a big fan, then you know this. So let's just get the legal mumbo jumbo out of the way.
Okay.
Let me get my voice ready. The Pope on Film podcast is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if the Pope on Film podcast is right for you.
Yes.
Some people have had changes in behavior, hostility, night terrors, depression, and suicidal thoughts while listening to or after stopping listening to the Pope on Film podcast. If you notice hostility, depression, or suicidal thoughts or actions, stop listening to the Pope on Film and consult a doctor immediately.
Yes.
Tell your doctor right away if you suffer from any pain while listening to the Pope on Film podcast, including swelling of the face, mouth, tongue, or shins.
Yes.
Stop listening to the Pope on Film if you encounter any of the following. Changes in eyesight, including blurry vision, double vision, or X-ray vision. Some of the most common side effects of the Pope on Film include restlessness, tired feeling, anal warts, bugle farts, Cheeto teeters, a sudden appreciation of freeform jazz, falcon teeth, sudden onset butt flaps,
Yes.
nacho sweat, piano teeth, jaundice, weight gain, lupus, scurvy, egg burps, anime eyes, Polly Shore face, sudden Spanishness, vampirism, donkey feet, wandering spleen, zip tie penis,
Wandering
swelling
Spanish. I saw them
head,
in
shoulders, knees and toes, Macho Man voice, Ric Flair walk, itching or rashing, and vaginal discharge. Do not consume alcohol while listening to the Pope on Film until you know how the Pope on Film podcast affects you. Do not listen to the Pope on Film if you are allergic to the Pope on Film. We thought that this was an obvious thing, given that we didn't have to include in this list, but apparently you people are such freaking dummies that we had to include that.
Yes.
What is wrong with you? Do you regularly take medication that you are allergic to? What is your problem, man? What about food? If you were severely allergic to peanuts, would you continue to consume peanuts? No, because that would be fucking stupid. Look, let's just forget this whole allergic thing. It just really pisses me off. The Pope on Film is not effective birth control. Use only as directed.
Depends on the
If
episode.
you are looking for a long-winded semi-movie related movie podcast, ask your shaman if the Pope on Film is right for you. The Pope on Film, technically a podcast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
well
you.
done, sir. Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That was gold. That was gold, Pony Boy.
Yes, it
That was gold. Mm. Now, Bunny, my friend,
Yes.
we have a long-standing history here on this here show of taking some time in the beginning of the podcast, in the beginning of the show, in the beginning of the shoe, to shit on various people
Yes.
that deserve to be shat upon.
Yes.
It's always fun. We shat on famous people. We've shat on Donald Trump a few times. We shat on my older brother Joe and Deanna for reasons I vaguely remember. And the last time we recorded this podcast, we did a much needed shatting upon of director and famed asshat James Cameron.
Yes.
The dictator of Hollywood. King of the self-absorbed assholes. Well, this week on the podcast, we will be shitting on probably the absolute worst being on the face of the earth.
Okay.
So many people have called and written in and sent smoke signals and sent telepathic brainwaves just begging for us to shit on this. And finally, we are listening to the people. We are listening to the fans, the fan base, and we are doing it.
Yes.
This week, we will be finally shitting on what you have all asked us to shit on. I am, of course, talking about the long-horned orb weaver spider.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Fuck the long-horned orb weaver spider, if you can call yourself a spider. That's like me calling myself the king of all Latinos.
Well, but that's true, so I'm confused.
How did you find this toy? You haven't played with this toy for like a month. And not only did you decide to play with the toy, but you decided to take it right behind me while I'm doing the podcast. How do you know these things, Eleanor? How? And how did you get a nail clipper? And it broke. And the nail clipper broke. This is already a fun. No, you're not playing with this thing. You are not playing with this thing. No, I thought I turned it off. How do you turn this thing off? I guess you just don't touch it. Okay, nobody touch this. The long-horned orb weaver spider.
Yes.
Needs to step the fuck off. You need to step the fuck off, long-horned orb weaver spider.
You think?
Seriously. And what's with your long horns protruding from your face? What are you doing? Some Loki cosplay? Is Spider-Con about to happen or something that I don't know about? Wizard Magazine presents Spider-Con?
Possibly.
I miss Wizard Magazine, but that's a different story. Get the hell out of here with your long horns, long-horned orb weaver spider. You look like a badly drawn Pokemon, drawn by a fourth grader. For shit's sake, long-horned orb weaver spider, you are a mess. You are a mess, and you need to get yourself together. You're a hot, spidery mess. So this is what you need to do, long-horned orb weaver spider. You need to get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack.
Yes.
All your shit. So it's together. And if you need to take it somewhere, take it somewhere. Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do with it. You just got to get it together.
Eleanor thinks you're talking about her. And
yeah.
I secretly think you are too.
Obviously, long-horned orb weaver spiders don't have mirrors.
No.
Because if they did, then long-horned orb weaver spiders would know that they look like a Cirque du Soleil nightmare or an Elton John costume mishap from the 1970s. Okay, I'm done shitting on the long-horned orb weaver spider. Okay? Okay?
Okay. What brought this on?
No, you know what? I'm not done talking about the long-horned orb weaver spider. I'm not letting the long-horned orb weaver spider get out that easily. No. The long-horned orb weaver spider looks so ridiculous. You know what it looks like? It looks like when an 8-year-old boy draws a picture of a car.
Yeah.
Is what the long-horned orb weaver spider looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the car, and I drew it myself. So this is the car's wings.
Uh-huh.
They shoot lasers.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the long-horned orb weaver spider. It's like God is creating everything, okay? So it's the beginning of existence, and God is up in the clouds. He has his sleeves rolled up, working hard. Okay, now let's make all the world's liquids. Okay, good. That one tastes good. Ooh. Now next, let's make Clouds! Ooh, they look so fluffy. Oh, good job. Now what shall we make next? I know. How about all the world's drugs? Yep, there you go. Well, let's try some of these drugs. So God tries some of the drugs he just created, and he's tripping balls.
Yeah.
And while he's tripping balls, he goes on a crazy-ass, balls-out creation spree. And his eyes are all bugged out. It's like, okay, how about we make a frog? I know we already made frogs, but let's make frogs that give birth by having bubbles pop out of its back.
Yeah.
Babies come out of the frog's back. Okay, now let's make something else. And that is how the long-horned orb weaver spider came into existence. That's in the Bible. That's called science.
Mm-hmm.
So seriously, what I'm saying is fuck the long-horned orb weaver spider. Fuck it. And don't even get me started on the long-jawed orb weaver spider, because they're an even bigger mess. I'm not even gonna get started on the long-jawed orb weaver spider. Eleanor, leave my computer alone. Eleanor is just looking for trouble. Is what she's doing. She's looking for trouble. And when you tell her no, she just cries until someone puts a boob in her mouth. That's not mine. I learned that from experience.
Yeah.
Give it to me, and I'll hide it from her. Also, the speaker, no one gives a crap about the speaker. You can take the speaker. You can let her play with the speaker. I don't care about the speaker. This is Mom's. And this.
Why was it on
It's
your
also
computer?
Mom's. I don't know, but it's not mine. It's Mom's. I imagine Eleanor put it there because Eleanor is Eleanor. So that's all I have for realsies this time on the long-horned orb weaver spider. I hope that all of those long-horned orb weaver spider haters out there are finally resting easy, because the long-horned orb weaver spider has finally gotten what it's deserved. Also, side note, I'm pretty sure that we are the podcast that has set the record for the most times in a single movie podcast that someone has said the phrase long-horned orb weaver spider.
I believe you may be correct there.
So once again, this is an historic episode of the Pope on Film podcast. Once again.
Yes.
Once again.
Yes. Trendsetters. Finding that envelope and just punching it till daylight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bunny, let's change the subject here. Marvel's Avengers Infinity War has officially dethroned Star Wars The Last Jedi to become the biggest opening weekend of all time. It also had the largest worldwide opening of all time, and that is fucking impressive when you realize that the movie hasn't even come out in frickin' China yet.
Yeah.
You know how many people are in frickin' China, too? At least 5.
Yes. And all
So it's
Marvel fans.
Yeah, so it's impressive that Avengers Infinity War has been so successful without the film opening in China, or as the president calls it, China.
China.
I spelled that on my notes, CHIIINAH, all in caps and bold. So this film is a real big deal. Well, next week we will be doing Avengers Infinity War, so be sure to check that out.
Yes.
But I was the one that said, hey, we could do Avengers Infinity War, but you know what we should do instead? A really shitty ghost film.
Oh, my God.
That was on me. I picked this week's film.
You know, yeah, there aren't very many movies that make you look back on Begotten fondly.
Yeah. This film is amazing. This week's film is amazing. But this bit isn't about Avengers Infinity War. This bit that I'm doing right now, that we're in the middle of, is about what happens after 2019. See, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has recently announced that they have all of their movies planned up to 2025, but it's all under wraps. They're keeping it all secret. They're keeping it all hidden until the release of the fourth Avengers movie in the summer of 2019, which is currently entitled Untitled Avengers 4.
Uh-huh. That's a good title.
So we won't know what any of the other Marvel movies are until that one comes out. So we don't know what's coming soon for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's odd because it's not like the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be shy or secretive or anything like that about the schedule. They're always shoving that down your freaking throat, you know?
And it is, just to remind our audience, it is going to be ahoy spoilers as we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Infinity War.
A lot of spoilers next week. But Marvel are really trying to, by keeping their upcoming schedule secretive, they're really trying to showcase the supposed finality of Avengers Infinity War and the upcoming upcoming Untitled Avengers 4. So who knows what movies are coming out soon for Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so, with that in mind, I have an idea for a Marvel film, and it's great.
Okay.
No.
I think you might have mentioned this to me, because I have an idea, and I don't think it originated with me.
No. This is a brand new idea I just came up with recently, and it's wonderful. And this is my idea for a upcoming Marvel film, and it's wonderful. Okay?
Okay.
So I think you could really help me flesh it out.
Okay.
So it's the story of Odin. It's a movie from Odin's point of view. It's the Odin film. But I see the thing is I have a lot of questions about what happens between Thor 2, aka Thor the Dark World. What everyone says is without a doubt the worst film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even worse than Incredible Hulk.
Really?
Between Thor 2 and Thor 3 being Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Now, I've brought this up to a number of people here in the house and family and friends and stuff, and they all say the same thing. They say, wait, what happened in Thor 2? And they also say things like, did I see that? And, oh, I don't remember a thing from that.
See you later.
Bye. Bye. So nobody remembers Thor 2. Everybody loves Thor 3 though. So it's a bit unclear as to what happens as to the time between Thor 2 and Thor 3. That was my big question. I recently rewatched Thor the Dark World, and I was really confused as to how long is the space between Thor 2 and Thor 3? And it's difficult to say because Marvel is really bad with time.
Yes.
You know? They're really bad with the time frame of all of these movies. Wait, when does Ant-Man happen? The second Ant-Man. Is that happening before the last film or after the last film? Maxwell, calm down. Calm down. Eleanor, don't turn the TV off. All right, hold on a second, Bonnie. And I'm the one that has to deal with this. I thought there were people here that were helping me. But that's fine. You don't see me upset about it. This is my happy voice. And we're back. Hi.
Hey there.
So, as far as I can tell, the space between Thor 2 and Thor 3, between Thor the Dark World and Thor Ragnarok, is about 2 years, a year or two, maybe 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It's a bit confusing. So, at the end of Thor the Dark World, Loki has taken over Asgard by pretending to be Loki.
Yeah.
No, by pretending to be Odin. Loki is pretending to be Odin, and Loki has gotten rid of Odin, and it's not until it's not until the third movie, Thor Ragnarok, that you learn that Loki sent Odin to Earth, and he was at a retirement home that got tore down. That's what you learn in the beginning of Thor Ragnarok. So my idea for a Thor film, which we can just call Thor 2.5, is the entire film is set. Eleanor, what's happening with Eleanor? So my Marvel movie is all set in that old folks' home.
Okay.
And it's entirely about Odin living on Earth in an old folks' home. I want to see that movie.
Does he think he's Elvis? I think he might think he's Elvis.
No, everyone thinks he's crazy because he's talking about how it's, oh, and what's your name? My name is Odin. I am the king of Asgard. Oh, well, good for you. Let me show you to your room.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone thinks he's crazy except for, you know, himself and the audience, of course.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that I like about it, the thing that makes me happy is that he lived basically as a god, as this emperor god on Asgard. So when he's in the old folks' home, it's the little things that fucking amaze him.
Yeah.
You know, so he's there and he's, let's see, oh, it's lunchtime. Excellent. Where is the roast beast?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, we don't have that, but here's your tray. Okay, is this the first tray? Will there be 8 more trays after this? No, you just get the one. Wait a second. What is this clear substance? It seems to be alive. No, dude, that's Jell-O. Jell-O, you say? I shall try this Midgard treat. Ah, this is wonderful! I demand more Jell-O! Bring me more Jell-O! You know, and I picture like, and then everyone goes to the TV to watch TV, and yet he doesn't want to watch TV.
Right.
And someone asks why he's not watching, and Odin says, I am just reminded of the battle on the second moon of Chrysopia.
Yeah.
And he starts telling his stories, and next thing you know, nobody's watching TV, and everyone's just crowded around Odin telling his stories about Asgard and shit.
Yeah.
And then some bad villain shows up, and so
but not
Odin
too bad. No, okay. Not too bad, because Odin himself is not going to fight the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all the
he is going
to
yes.
Yeah.
He is going to form a plucky band of rebel old people and train them in the old ways. And they will defeat the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we got a winner here. We got a winner.
Yeah, no. I think this is a really good idea. And then you know, he can't wait to play shuffleboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's playing shuffleboard with all the old people, except, you know, he used to be a fighting king.
Yeah.
That would fight in battle. So he's like trash talking people, you know, and he's fighting against these like 3 old women, and he's just there.
Yeah.
Your death shall be sweet, and they're all freaked out and shit. Then eventually, like, it's recreation time again, and everyone's like, so, Odin, what are you going to be telling us today? Are you going to be telling us about a battle or some time that a fellow king betrayed you? And he said, no, I shall be sitting in front of this box because today Maury is going to have more paternity tests.
Yes.
This is my favorite part of your television. I like it when the fathers do the little dance. I think this is a solid idea.
I am down with this. I am down with this. We do need to know what happened to Odin in that time frame. And only you have the balls to stand up and fucking say so.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I want the Odin movie. That
Yes.
would be fun. That would be fun as hell.
It would. It would
Anyway,
totally be fun.
Anyway, that's my idea. I'm really proud of it. I'm really super proud of it. So, there was no show last week. We had a week off. But man, oh man, we had a crazy week. We had a crazy 2 weeks over here at the Galindo household. First off, I had my second big story time for LoveWorks, the nonprofit that I'm partnering with.
Yes.
I have a third event at the end of this month, and as of right now, as of this moment, I am only scheduled to do these 3 story times. I was hired to help them with their Heroes on the Court, their nonprofit, they have their third annual fundraising thing. It's a basketball tournament between first responders. I was hired to do entertainment for that, and I was hired to do 3 story times in March and April and May, and then that's it. From that point on, I don't have anything
lined up
with this group. But I do have a meeting next Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to be meeting with the guy who runs the nonprofit, and we're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing for the next story time, as well as our future and what we will be doing going forward. And that's a bunch of business speak, which I think means we're going to be talking about whether or not we're going to be doing more story times. So hopefully I will be doing more story times for these people. I'm getting paid a fairly good amount, and it's nice to have a paycheck again.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited about that. So hopefully we will be doing some more story times with them. Then later that evening, despite common sense, we went to the drive-thru.
Okay.
Because the story time was on Saturday morning, and then that Friday night we stayed up really, really late. My wife and I drinking. I had a hard time writing this podcast, and it's funny because I sound just like my wife, Natasha. She has said this to me numerous times over the years, and now I'm the one saying it. Oh my God, I can't get anything done while you're at the house. I can't get any of my writing done at all because you're a big distraction, and I want to spend all of my time with you.
Yeah.
And not watch this stupid ghost movie.
Oh God.
So
it's gonna be like Frau Blucher. Every time you mention this movie, I'm just gonna go, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then the painful thing was that I said I have to watch it. I watched it once, and then it's like, well, I have to watch it again right before I do the podcast, because I always watch the movie again like a few hours before we record the podcast. So I had to watch it again today, and watching it a second time is even more difficult because you got to just sit through this horrible fucking movie again. Yeah. But then I had to take my kids to a doctor's appointment, and then Maxwell was in there for a therapist appointment, and so it was Maxwell. He was there for 50 minutes, and then Bella was there for an hour. And in that time, I was forced to see about 1.5 B movies. They put the DVD of B movie in the waiting room, and then they played the movie, and then it just immediately played again.
Those heartless.
So today
fucks.
I watched 2017's A Ghost Story as well as 1.5 B movies. So I'm on a roll.
Yes, you are.
I might have to watch Oogie Loves 3 times.
Or perhaps a croissant.
Yeah, or perhaps a Rock of Ages or something.
Yes.
Just to keep the trend going. So then I had to wake everybody up super early to go to Norman for my story time. And then we had to go to Sam's Club, and then we had to pick this up, and we had to go here, and Mommy was looking for some clothes for her graduation. And then by the time we got home, it's like 2:00 and we're all exhausted. And Natasha and I are both asleep on the couch. But then it's like, shit, we got to get up and get ready for the drive-in. We're both fucking exhausted. And then we realized, oh God, it's the best double feature.
Okay. Well,
it was the best double feature. It was Avengers Infinity War followed by Black Panther. And we were all upset because Black Panther should have come first,
yes,
followed by Avengers Infinity War. But in the rule of drive-in, the new movie has to come first.
That is true. Yes.
That's just the rule. So, but then I realized, oh, wait a second. It's summer. It's getting darker later. The film's not going to start until like 8:15, 8:20. And then Avengers Infinity War is 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes, something like that. And then Black Panther is a little over 2 hours. Shit, we're not getting home until like 2:45 in the morning.
Yes.
And we weren't sure if we were going to go to the drive-in for a while because we're both exhausted and we both don't know if we can do this. But we decided to do it anyway, and let me tell you something. A fun side note, a fun little side note. My wife's primary car is the van, and for whatever reason, the van won't get any AM radio stations.
Okay.
It'll get FM radio stations, but it won't get AM radio stations. And for the last month, I've been arguing with my wife about this. Like, there's something wrong with our radio. And she's like, what are you talking about? Nobody listens to AM radio but you, Steve. And I go, yes, but it's all the same antenna.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a separate antenna for AM and a separate antenna for FM. So if you're not getting any AM, that means there's something wrong with the antenna. And she's like, oh, it doesn't matter, Steve. The antenna is fine. We went to the drive-in. And it's one of the and they don't have the boxes anymore that you connect right to the car and it plays the movie for you. You have to tune into a radio station, and we couldn't get the radio station. It was staticky as fuck. We were primarily just hoping that the cars next to us were loud. Yes.
Did they not have a loaner radio?
No. So it was difficult. Like it's Avengers Infinity War, but also we could understand maybe 60% of the dialogue.
Okay.
That's not good. Yeah. Sucked. Yeah. Next time we go to the drive-in, we'll need a big ass boombox. I'm gonna go back in time to the 80s and get a big ass boombox.
Yes.
And then come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big ass one of those big ones. One so big you'll expect me to have an afro. One of those ones.
Well, what was his name? Radio Rashid?
Radio Raheem.
Raheem. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
But we went to the drive-in. It was a great double feature. Had fun there. And thankfully, let me just say this. Thankfully, Maxwell fell asleep about halfway through the movie.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Yes.
Because I don't think he could have gone through the ending of that film.
You don't think so? No? You think he would have gotten all kinds of upset about that?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I think he fell asleep sometime before the Red Skull showed up.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Red Skull was there, but it was a different actor, but you also couldn't tell because he's kind of a ghost or something. I don't know.
It wasn't Hugo Weaving?
But that means he also missed Gamora, so that's also good.
Yeah.
Nothing, Maxwell. I'll tell you when both Avengers 3 and 4 are available. Because I don't want you watching Avengers 3 until you have Avengers 4 to make it okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah. So thank God he fell asleep because that was difficult. Then the next day after the drive-in, No. Then we had the week, and the kids went back to school, and yada yada yada. My wife had finals week, and she was going insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I really applied myself. I was really proud of myself. I was cooking dinner, and it was really good dinner, and cleaning and taking care of the kids and making sure the kids are away from Natasha so she can study, which I believe. When I say study, I'm pretty sure that means 45% Tumblr.
Yeah.
And 55% studying, but still, she's studying. So then last Thursday was her graduation, and so proud of her, because when she first learned a long time ago that her graduation was going to be on May the 4th, she said, I am going to come to the graduation dressed as Princess Leia, and all the people in school said, oh yeah, right, sure, you bet, I totally believe you, wink wink, winkety wink wink. And she did, and she wore this like skin tight Princess Leia outfit, and she wore this really nice wig, and she did the outfit really nice, and she had a belt and these white boots, and she looked great, and she did her makeup really good. And the thing that I was the most impressed about Natasha and her graduation is the fact that when we're going home, she says, I'm going to keep this outfit on. And I immediately in my head kind of auto-corrected that to, yeah, right. Because Lord knows if I was wearing like a skin-tight Princess Leia outfit, I would take that shit out the moment I got home. But she kept it on for like a good 5 hours.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like 8 hours.
She was in that thing for 8 hours. It was quite impressive how long she kept that on. And it's hours later, and we're drinking in the outside and having fun and relaxing, and it's just really weird because I keep turning my head, and there's a brunette space princess drinking wine right next to me. So that was fun. I kept reminding myself of the Son of Sam. Not the serial killer. Not the serial killer, but that movie with John Leguizamo.
Oh,
because the Son of Sam is only killing brunettes. Was it brunettes?
I think. Well, no. Right. He was killing long-haired brunettes. Yes.
Yeah, the Son of Sam killer kills only long-haired brunettes, so everyone dyes their hair or gets wigs. And that's what made this wig.
That's what made the Dorothy Hamill wedge cut so popular. Because it was just like a short bob, so everybody, and she was winning Olympic gold, so everybody went and got her haircut.
You're a short bob.
Yeah.
Just want to take this time to say that. I'm really proud of that. So then John Leguizamo says, when they're in bed together, this is amazing. I feel like I'm cheating on you with you.
Yeah.
That kept running through my mind because I'm like, oh my God, who are you, attractive woman? Don't tell my wife. Wink, wink, winkety, wink, wink. Then Saturday was our anniversary, and we went out to go see Avengers Infinity War. It's interesting. It's a really good movie when you can actually hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really makes the film different when you can actually understand things.
And again, just like the original Avengers, the first one, you really have to listen because so much shit is flying by.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit seeing the film.
We like Fudge Fury.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I missed the first time. So I've had a busy week. It's been a very busy week.
Yes. It sounds it. But it was a good anniversary?
Oh, yeah, it was a great anniversary. I have Time Hop on my tablet. And Time Hop gives me all of my social media history for that day. So here's what you posted 1 year ago on Facebook. Here's what you posted 2 years ago on Instagram. Here's what you posted. And it's really nice. And I really like it on important days like our anniversary because I get to go back and see what we did before. And it's weird because there's my wife and I, we have our anniversary on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And every Cinco de Mayo, a Marvel movie has just come out.
Yes.
And so we were really upset when they decided to release Infinity War 2 weeks early. Because it's like, what the hell? Why are you ruining our anniversary?
Yeah.
You're really screwing us here, Marvel. We were very upset about that.
Those bastards.
But yeah, so we've had a busy week, and now Natasha's off school. It's weird to have her home all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been my time. Very, very, very excited to have Natasha home, and I can say all these things because she's not in the room. She's off running errands while I do the podcast. So we still have a lot to talk about. We still have to talk about garlic bologna. We still have to talk about a flock of seagulls. We still have to talk about a certain Catholic school and a guy named Clint. Okay. We still have to talk about Ang Lee's Hulk again. We need to talk about Manos, the Hands of Fate. We need to talk about ghosts. But before we get to any of that, maybe we should take a break. Should we take a break?
We should take a break. We should definitely take a break.
We shall. We will be right back with more of the Pope on Film after these commercial messages. Do 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 do. Thank you, Maxwell. Thank you. That's good scatting.
He's getting so good at that he's gonna get killed in The Shining.
Yeah. Nice, Maxwell. Very good.
Bob feels so sparkly. Bob loves to sparkle. Makes Bob feel just like Fiddler.
Go here, boop, podcast.
Disco Godfather. Let's meet and greet the Disco Godfather. He's the godfather of the disco. All right. Put your weight on it. Put your weight on it. Put your weight on it. All right, everybody out there, you got your mind on the one and your ass on the loose. Come on, get funky in here. Shoot the juice to the fruit. From the north to the south, from coast to coast. The Godfather here's gonna give you the most. All right. Put your weight on it. 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 I'm the Godfather and my name is Tucker. Everybody knows that I'm a bad brother.
Then hit the hit me. I want them alive.
Disco Godfather.
Got to get rid of everything. I'm a restricted businessman in this community.
Talk! Who sent you? see your face in the taste. I'm rough and tough and don't take no stuff. Yes, this is the Godfather talking to you. I want you to put a little slide in your glide, and some soul in your soul, and some zip in your hip, some strut in your gut. Sit down, this is the place to be. If you need a little loving, you can call on me.
We're flying high on a disco trip, all across the big USA. In Atlanta, we love you. New York City, Frisco too. Miami, Chicago, and LA. Come on and dance. Let's dance. Come on and dance.
If you crave satisfaction, this is a place to find that action. Coming to this theater as its next attraction is a picture that will put you in traction. Disco Godfather, starring me, Rudy Ray Moore. Disco Godfather.
And we're back with more of the Pope on Film. Buddy! I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry for being so loud. I just get super excited after a break, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we take a break and I just get so amped and pumped and jazzed.
Yeah. Stimulated.
That I just have to belch your name out, and I'm sorry if I upset you or anyone listening. I'll try to not shout your name though at the beginning of each segment. I don't want to be upsetting anyone who is pissed off about the volume of our show. I know people have said that before. Maybe at the beginning of each segment I'll toss it up, you know, maybe like I'll sing it.
Maybe.
Bunny! Something like that.
I was thinking like, Bunny, thank you for the time.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So, if you're like me, then you know that I am an addict. I have a problem. My addiction is called garlic bologna. I know it's gross, and I'm working on it. And if you're like me, then you're also a lover of history. I am a regular historicalaniist, which is a technical term that is only used by us historicalanists.
Yeah.
But I'm also a storyteller with my own unique style. And so what I like to do is I like to get a story from history and reword it via the prism of my own unique razzmatazz. And so that is what this is. Yet another installment of our long-running feature here on the podcast, Steve's Historical Approximations!
Dun, dun, dun!
Or SHAP, as I like to call it. Steve's Historical Approximations. SHAP. I think it has a good ring to it. I think SHAP could go places. And this week is a special one. We're going to be deviating from the norm. We're going to be going in a different direction. This week, we will be discussing the true story of a young man in the late 1980s who was brave enough to stand up for what was right.
Yes.
So here's the story.
God's Not Dead Again, right?
What?
We're talking about God's Not Dead Again, right?
No. No. So here's the story.
It's not that plucky young gentleman.
No. So here's the story. It's the late 1980s. And as you know, in the 80s, everyone was walking around working on a Rubik's Cube while dressed like Boy George and rocking a flock of seagulls haircuts. That was the 80s.
Yes.
Everyone had a Rubik's Cube in their hand. It was like the BIM mark. You had to have a Rubik's Cube that you were working on constantly.
I was there in the 80s, okay? So all of you people who are all nostalgic for the 80s, you know, it really wasn't that good.
Yeah, it was a pretty shitty time.
It was Reagan and the first George Bush. No, these were not happy times.
So, a little aside here. So when people think of the 1960s, they automatically think of, most people automatically think of hippies and drugs and psychedelic music, but that was a very small fraction of the 1960s.
These are a few of my favorite things.
The 1960s was actually a pretty square period in time. I think, when you think of the music of the 1960s, I think you normally go to like Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles and not the Hello Dolly soundtrack, you know?
I would agree.
But people have gotten a very small part of the 1960s and have kind of turned it into the only part of the 1960s. So I try and think in that light when I think of the times that I have been alive.
Yeah.
Like, what will people think of, say, the 90s? Like 50 years from now. What will people be thinking of the 90s? Now, that one is easy. In the 90s, everyone was Kurt Cobain. In the 90s.
I don't know if you have noticed. I have noticed. Nostalgia trails behind by about 20 years. In the 70s, American Graffiti, and then, of course, Happy Days made everybody nostalgic for the 50s. 20-year period. In the 80s, we were very nostalgic for the 60s. I don't think we were ever actually nostalgic for the 70s. Fuck the 70s.
Yeah.
So we get into the 20-teens. It's time to start looking back to 1990.
In the 1990s, Jinko jeans were very popular, and they were basically like bell bottoms on steroids.
Really? I missed that. I liked bell bottoms.
In the 90s, I was dating Debbie a lot, and she was really into like rave culture and drugs and stuff. So a lot of what is it? Glow sticks and ridiculous makeup and smoking cloves at a Denny's at 3 a.m. and Jinko jeans. There are a lot of Jinko jeans.
Yeah.
So that could be seen as like a 70s nostalgia thing in the 90s. But then I try and think of what about the 2000s? Like the 90s is easy. Everyone's going to think that the entire 90s was alternative music.
Yes.
And it's going to be really annoying that basically people are going to alternative the 90s the way they hippied the 60s. And so now everyone's going to be listening to Nirvana and dressing like bums. So that's going to be fun. But then I think of the 2000s. How will people think of the 2000s? And I've been stuck on this for about a week and a half until I realized Apple. I think Apple will own the 2000s. When you think of the 2000s, you'll just be thinking, "Oh, let me listen to my iPod. Now let me open up my iBook. Let me get on my Apple whatever." That's going to be the entire 2000s. And like the stock market, the .com boom.
Yeah, I would have to agree on that. Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. So it's the 1980s in Phoenix, Arizona. It gets so hot in Arizona because it's the Valley of the Sun. That's what they call it. Phoenix is the Valley of the Sun. And that's not just a catchy travel nickname. the Valley of the Sun is literal. The sun rises and sets in Phoenix, Arizona.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, every morning the sun rises from the ground around 51st Avenue and Camelback Road and then goes up into the sky. And then at night it sets somewhere in the Superstition Mountains. That's a 109% fact. It's called science, snowflakes. In the 70s and 80s and 90s, there were malls all around Phoenix, Arizona, blanketing Phoenix, Arizona. And I know a lot of big cities had malls, but Arizona had more. Phoenix had more malls. And nowadays they're all like closing down and it's very sad. But back in the day, everyone spent all of their time in the malls. Everyone went to the malls in Phoenix, and you spent all your time in various malls, not because it was the cool place to go, but just because it's 120 frickin' degrees outside. And so what are you going to do? You're not going to go to the park. You're going to fucking melt.
Yeah.
You know? What are you going to do? Have a cookout? You can literally have a cookout on the sidewalk. It's so frickin' hot. So you would go to a mall. That's what you did. It was just, it cooled your ass down. And in Phoenix, Arizona in the 80s, and still to this day, there was a private school, a private Catholic school.
Yeah.
And it was called Saints Simon and Jude Catholic School. Saints Simon and Jude Catholic School. And I really like that. I like how one saint is not enough. Not for this school.
How did they rate? How did they rate more than one saint? I think
I know.
Lobbyists. That's what I'm thinking.
I'd like to think that like there was a saint off of various schools in Phoenix.
Yeah.
That oh yes, we are St. Mary's. We are a very proud school. Yes, St. Mary's. You can't get better than Mary, can you? No, you can't. We got the best one. And then this school said, "Oh yeah, well we're St. Simon and Jude." Mm-hmm. That's right. We got two fucking saints. Eat that. And then St. Mary's is like, "Oh shit. I think we need three saints." Yes, St. Mary's is changing its name. We're now St. Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yeah. Or Saints Peter, Paul, and Mary Private School. Meanwhile, St. Simon and Jude is like, fuck it, we're going for saints. Yeah. Like razor blade companies.
Yeah.
Like shaving companies. Damn it, we're going to go 5 blades. So there's a young boy at this school, Saints Simon and Jude Catholic School in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a young boy going to school. They're very young. He's in 6th grade. He doesn't quite fit in, and yet fiendishly handsome.
Yes.
People would come up to this young boy all the time and say, "I know that you're just 10 years old, but like when you grow up, you're going to have such an amazing mustache. When you get older, your mustache is going to be like amazing. I know you don't have any facial hair now, but it's just when you get older, your entire hair situation is just going to be really great." And then what did that kid say? That kid said, okay, he could have let it go to his head,
yes,
but he didn't.
No.
It could have gone to the head.
And do you know why? Because he was an American hero.
Yeah, an American hero. It could have gone to the head of this young boy, made him brash and cocky, a loudmouth, but did it? No. He remained humble. And good for him.
Yes.
He's already a hero. He hasn't even done anything yet. So it's 6th grade at this private school, and this private school is roughly 97% white.
Okay.
So this young boy, who is not white, and he doesn't quite fit in, let's give him a name. Let's call him Clint.
Yes, that's a good name.
Clint Hard Abs.
That's a good fake name. And so
typical all-American Catholic name, Catholic schoolboy name, Clint Hardabs.
Nobody would ever suspect it's you.
He started having a hard time in 6th grade because that was around about the time where kids slowly stop playing pretend and start playing freaking sports that they no doubt learned how to play from their fathers, their blue-collar white fathers who actually welcomed their existence and did not see their birth as some sort of accidental afterthought that they can swipe under the rug. Not that I have a pony in this story at all.
No.
It's a story of a young child that I've heard through the grapevine. A lot of people are talking about this story.
Yes.
So
many people. So many people.
So the kids started breaking off in groups to play basketball, football, soccer. Meanwhile, our young hero, Clint Hardabs, is still with his small group of fellow rejects playing Running Man during recess. And I don't think that there were too many kids out there at Catholic schools turning R-rated Stephen King movies into recess games, you know? There weren't a lot of kids in the 80s that were like, what should we play? Should we play on the swings? Maybe we should go to the monkey bars. I've got an idea. Who here has seen Salem's Lot? Nobody? What about the Tommy Knockers? Not a lot of people. Is what I'm saying. Not a lot of people were doing that. So really, this young boy, Clint Hardabs, really ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You know? Well, Clint watched as the group of boys playing sports got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until basically our young Clint was all alone on the monkey bars as all of the other boys in his class played sports. Literally, he was all alone. There was nobody else. Everyone made it to sports. So one day, Clint, our hero, decided, I'm going to go and see what all the boys are doing. So he goes to see what everybody is doing, and the boys, all of the boys in this grade,
yes,
are playing a game called Smear the Queer.
Okay.
That is the name of the game. It's called Smear the Queer. It's a game of tag, basically, where someone has the ball, and whoever has the ball is the queer.
Okay.
And the object of the game is to tackle the queer or take down the queer by any means necessary. Hence, the title of the game, Smear the Queer.
Yes.
Now, I looked up Smear the Queer. I wasn't sure if Smear the Queer was something that was just at this one school or if it was everywhere. So UrbanDictionary.com says that Smear the Queer, it has a lot to say about the game Smear the Queer. It says that Smear the Queer, according to UrbanDictionary.com, is not a homophobic game because the queer is it. So it's not homophobic, and being the queer requires bravery. And that glowing review of Smear the Queer stinks.
Okay.
To me, it seems like it was written by an adult who loved playing Smear the Queer as a child, and now he's desperate to try and explain how the game totes wasn't offensive.
Yes.
It sounds like that review was written by one of those people that you know, Mr. White Explainer. Yes. The guy who's like a middle-aged guy who works in an office and says, "Hey, I'm not racist, but."
Mm-hmm.
Now let me say this racist thing. Now let me explain to you why this isn't racist.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. White Explainer. That's what it sounds like. The review from UrbanDictionary.com came from.
Which takes like calculus formulas to figure out how what they just said is not really racist.
Yeah. So they're playing Smear the Queer, and I'm sorry, but that's an offensive game.
Yes.
period. Not to mention, Smear the Queer is essentially rugby with no refs. And yeah, it's allegedly not homophobic, but you try telling that to upper middle class white kids in 1988 because they didn't get the freaking memo. All of these kids are like, oh, Kevin has the ball. He's the queer. Tackle the stupid dumb queer. Oh, I almost got the queer. So they're playing in a big field that's a bit of a ways away from the actual school proper.
Yeah.
So after a few minutes of watching, our hero, again, let's call him Clint, stood up and walked back to school. The whole thing sort of upset him a little bit, so he just sat outside of class waiting for the bell to ring. And so eventually the bell rings, and when the bell rang, again, this is a private Catholic school, so you're supposed to line up. Everybody lines up in lines, and there's a line for the girls and a line for the boys, and you line up ready. And so you're lined up, and at this particular day, the normal 6th grade teacher was sick, so we had a substitute. And anytime anytime Clint had a substitute.
Yeah.
One of the old Irish nuns took over the class, and the Irish nuns were from Ireland, and they were angry and strict and old, and they hated their lives and slowly dying. And so they took out their anger and frustration on all of the children, and they were very strict. And so the bell rang, and everybody lines up, and all of the girls are lined up, and there's just one boy lined up.
Yeah.
And that's Clint.
Okay. Did he possibly get labeled somehow for this horrible transgression against the social contract?
No, what happened was all the other boys were just so excited playing Smear the Queer that they didn't hear the bell ring and didn't see everybody lined up. So the nun, Sister Teresita, was her name. She said, "Oh, where is all of the boys? Where are all the boys at? Where are all the boys? Clint, what are all the boys doing? How come the boys aren't lined up?" And so this young boy looks at the teacher, who again is an Irish nun.
Yes.
From Ireland, and says, "Oh, they're all in the field playing Smear the Queer."
How did she react?
The look on that nun's face was amazing, because the nun is freaked out and pissed off and upset and angry that Clint said that, but also she can't get angry at Clint because Clint's the one lined up.
Yeah.
So she goes nuts. She stomps all the way over to the field and gets all of the kids. A couple of them, she's pinching ears. She's yelling. She's screaming. She's pissed off. And all of the boys. The game was banned for life at St. Simon and Jude Catholic School. Yeah. And all of the boys, except for Clint, got a call from the teacher. All of the parents got a phone call that they were playing this violent and offensive game. What bravery!
Yeah, actually, for
this
that
young boy.
Yeah.
This young person successfully got Smear the Queer banned at this school. Why? Because he was standing up for what was right.
Yes.
He was standing up for the little people. Even in the late 80s, here's this young boy saying, "Oh, this is offensive to the LGBTQ culture, and I will not have any of that. No, sir."
No.
I don't think so. Not on my watch. This isn't happening if Clint Hardabs is around. Not happening.
No.
I am putting a kibosh on this. A kibosh, I say. Now, sadly, the story continues from there because the boys in class were furious that they were ratted out and got in trouble. A lot of them got grounded and got things taken away from them. So all of the boys started a month-long semi-violent recess investigation where the biggest, most popular boys literally went hunting for the rat.
Okay.
Clint was able to deflect as long as he could because technically Clint was there. Clint was sitting down watching the events, but that's a story for a different time. The main story is Clint Hardabs.
Yes.
A true American hero.
Yes.
Wasn't
there a song written about him?
If there's not, there should be. Yeah. Clint Hardabs.
So many of our heroes have just gotten lost in history, and we can't allow it. We can't allow the world to forget Clint Hardass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So many of our heroes have been forgotten. Clint Hardabs, Sammo Hung, the John 16 guy at the sporting events, Dan Cortez. So many of them have been forgotten, but we need to remember these people.
Yes. Yes, we do.
And that is it for this week's installment of Steve's Historical Approximations, or SHAP, as I like to annoyingly, repeatedly call it nonstop. And we sincerely hope that you all enjoyed getting your goddamn learn on. Next week, for Steve's Historical Approximations, or SHAP, we will be discussing the true story of the Nobel Peace Prize and a fake death.
Nice. Okay.
A fake death led to the creation of the Nobel Peace Prize. How? We will be discussing that next week. So don't Google it, because it's a good story. I don't want it to be ruined. Don't go looking for spoilers. This is a good story. That is next week. Be sure and join us next week for more Steve's Historical Approximations. And a cut on that. That was good stuff.
Yes, it was.
Bunny, would you like to do your segment, Grumpy Old Man, now?
Yes, please.
Well then, gang, it's time for yet another installment of Bunny Williams, Grumpy Old Man.
Get off my lawn.
Huh?
Get off my lawn.
Nice.
Yes.
Take it away, Bunny.
Well, let's get a look at the stats. I'm just trying to bring up the SoundCloud page here. And I think we will only do a yearly total, like once a year. It seems to make sense. But have you checked out like the growth chart from when we started on SoundCloud up until now?
No.
Oh, we show such nice growth.
Yeah.
From between there, yeah. Come on, load
earlier this week, I went around and posted the Mandela Effect moments in music history to all of the videos of the songs that we talk about.
Oh, cool.
I posted them on YouTube. I was really proud of that.
Did you see did you see part of, because I doubt anybody would watch the whole thing, my disgusting Christian film?
I saw a good portion of it. Yeah, it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was like an hour and 35 minutes. And like that is just skimming the surface.
Yeah.
Now I'm grabbing dirty Christians whenever I hear of them.
Yeah, I watched a good portion of it.
Okay, so our top 3 tracks for this week. Fruit Fucking with 17.
Nice.
D&D Anxiety and Destiny's Labia with 9. And Lego Batman Movie with 9.
Nice.
Is Batman going after Jim Carrey? Does he want to unseat him?
Time will tell.
For our top listeners, we have this young fellow named Steve Galindo at 106.
I don't know who that is. Unrelated.
No. Some dude maybe named Clint.
Steve Galindo is a very common name.
It is. Ladysmith Vampira with 9 for this week. And Cat Tuatai, Toutai. I am not sure if that's like Asian or if it's like French. It's the U throwing me off. I'm gonna go with French. So Cat Touche.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Our top cities. Shawnee, Oklahoma. We don't know anybody there.
Nope.
Mount Helena with 13. And Mountain View, California with 9.
Huh.
And then from there, just because it is a wacky world, that if we take a week off, just so much shit happens that we have not gotten to address. We have not gotten to talk about the Waffle House dude. Dudes. Jesus. We have not gotten to talk about Michelle Wolf.
Yeah.
And the rest, who could care about?
Yeah. Fucking Waffle Houses are becoming a hotbed of racial unrest. I was just talking to Natasha about it this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Waffle Houses of all places.
But I don't know about you, man. With as much as I am anti-gun, and really want to see these shootings end, and this Waffle House thing was just a horrible, horrible thing. But I got to appreciate that he did it naked. I can't help it. It's like having a monkey in a film, like. Oh my God! You shot people up in a. You fucking bet. You did it while you're naked. I got to give you 2 points on that.
Yeah.
I just got to give you. I got to give you 2 points. I don't want to do it. It pains me to do it. But everybody should do that now. If you're gonna go on the mass killing spree anyway. Do it naked.
Might as well do it different,
Yeah. I mean, that's some
razzmatazz.
Yeah, you're not coming back from this mission.
Yeah.
And then the first pictures that came out of the guy who like wrestled him to the ground.
Yeah.
Was where he was showing where he had the big gash on his arm.
Yeah.
And I think, God bless his little heart, he looked like his face. He looked like he was trying to put on his mean face, but he doesn't got a mean face. So, like, I wasn't sure if it was his mean face or if he was just like in pain, or if he got hit in the face a couple of times on one side. I didn't know, but then shortly thereafter, as other pictures came out, it was like, no, that I was right the first time. That really was his bad face. That was his mean face.
Yeah.
So God bless him. Michelle Wolf.
She used to be a writer for Seth Meyers.
For Seth Meyers? Well, that kind of figures. I had seen her a couple of times on the new Daily Show.
Yeah.
And she's been funny there. And I don't know about you, but I thought her routine was hysterical.
You thought it was bad?
No, I thought it was hysterical.
Oh, hysterical. I heard you say terrible.
Oh no. But I think where she went wrong with air quotes, she went after the media, and you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The media don't like it. Because she didn't say jack shit about Sarah Huckabee. Not anything for a roast. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a roast. This is what it's supposed to be. So she took a couple of shots at her. Fine. You know? It's a roast. I would have asked her, how's the possum? You know? I mean, it's a roast. So that wasn't it, but she was making fun of the media as well. And the media was like, well, fuck it. We're going to try to make her look like dirt.
Yeah, so then they said, how dare she make fun of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' appearance, which she didn't.
No.
But I think that they were just like, hey, let's say she made fun of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' appearance and hope that nobody checks, because who's going to watch the entire fucking correspondence dinner, you know?
Yeah. No, she didn't make fun of her appearance at all, really. What she made fun of is that she's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
That's what it was, you know, that's what it was. She didn't say anything about her looks that was anywhere near as bad, again, air quotes, as basically calling her a fucking liar.
Yeah.
You know? So that was fun. That was a fun few days while people all tripped out, and I saw the clip and I was like, no, that's just fucking funny.
It was not that bad. There have been worse and meaner correspondence dinners.
Yes, there most certainly has. Seth Meyer, for one.
Yeah, I remember Colbert was also going for throats.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention that David Wolf is a cunt. And by David Wolf, I mean Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Is she not getting paid for these Iron Man movies? Is that
I don't know.
What's going on for poor Gwyneth? That she has to be selling vagina rocks?
I don't know. I'm very confused about her.
Or does she just really like taking people's money in a scam? What's the story there?
I don't know. It's like, you know, when you're a college student, you're like a upper middle class white college student, and it's really your first time out of the nest, and then you read one book about Rastafarianism in a class, and you decide, okay, I'm going to be Rastafarian now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I gotta grow dreads and smoke pot.
Yeah. I mean,
in my dorm room.
She's taking people's money and giving them crap. Just like David Wolf, a lot of it's the same shit. And in fact, a lot of the same shit that Gwyneth Paltrow has that she sells, Alex Jones sells.
Yeah, okay? so I kind of figured, like, with the Rastafarian thing, that, like, 2 years ago, Gwyneth Paltrow learned about New Age shit.
Yeah.
And she just said, oh, this is my new thing now.
Because she's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, just listening to Gwyneth Paltrow when she's on, like, a talk show or something, it's kind of like, oh, it does sort of make sense now. You're not too right.
Dude, Jesus. Yeah, it's all fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And that is about all I have for this week. And I think there was quite a bit covered.
Yep.
So that is it for Grumpy Old Man. Get the fuck off my lawn.
I think this has been a great Grumpy Old Man. I just want to say, I think this has been a damn good Grumpy Old Man.
I got a damn.
You got a damn. Okay, hold on a second. Bring your freaking dog out here. She's right out here just whining, crying like a little bitch. And gotta pause my podcast because your dog's a pussy. Hi.
Hey there. Whose dog's a pussy?
Hey, Bunny, guess what?
What?
No, you actually have to guess.
Dewlap of the Gods.
No, Bunny, my sweet, sweet prince. Speaking of Prince, here's a fun fact for you. Little tidbit, little bit of trivia for you to impress your friends. You know Prince, the musician?
Yes, I've
Prince.
heard of him.
Yeah, I looked it up, and apparently he's still hella dead.
He is?
He is. He's still dead. Isn't that crazy? Huh. Weirdest thing. Anyway.
He was not able to unroll the rock from in front of his tomb.
Yeah, no, not at all. Really weird. Really, really weird. Anyway, it's homework time once again on the old Pope on Film podcast. People of the internet, your attention, please. Cease your Infinity War spoiling and kindly pay attention. Each week, the dreaded Council of Roseannes selects a homework assignment via the fiery ritual of carousel. And this week, we are watching a movie that is either brilliant or stupid. It's the low-budget 1970 cult classic, Equinox.
Yeah. Sam Raimi's a crook. I think you could see that's pretty obvious with this movie. But mostly this movie, it's not a real movie. It's a show reel.
Yeah, I want to go back to that introduction that I did there. It's either brilliant or stupid, because basically, the way I always saw this film is sort of a slightly more successful Manos.
Yes.
Or maybe an alternate universe Manos. You know, they use the same cameras, those ones that you had to wind up and you could only record for 30 seconds and it's all silent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they use the exact same cameras. Yeah. But my opinion of this film is sort of dwarfed by the fact that people, that critics, that the internet, they fucking love this movie.
Oh, what the hell is wrong with them? No, not a damn person can come close to acting. There were some interesting shots. There were some interesting things that had gone on. Stop motion monsters. I always kind of love those. You know.
Oh no, this film was ahead of its time, and the special effects are surprisingly good and advanced and yada yada yada. I mean, there's a fucking Criterion edition of this goddamn movie, for shit's sake. People love this movie. Personally, I could live with or without it. denofgeek.com said that this film was like, I really like this, was like if you got Burt I. Gordon to remake The Evil Dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's accurate. Speaking of The Evil Dead, I went to a lot of websites to...
Just keep going. Just keep going and pretend like I didn't just leave. Okay? Go ahead.
Okay. And speaking of The Evil Dead, I just want to come out and say it. I just want to come out and be bold and say it here, okay? I went to a lot of different websites to find out information about this movie. And there's a lot of information on the internet about this movie, a lot of reviews and a lot of stories of the making of it and yada, yada, yada. And everyone mentions The Evil Dead, but no one on the internet wants to directly say that Sam Raimi ripped off Equinox. All the websites and the reviews, they want to dance around this. They want to mention similarities, but not directly accuse Sam Raimi of ripping off The Evil Dead, of ripping off Equinox to make The Evil Dead, because everybody loves The Evil Dead. Oh, it's one of those films. Oh, it's a classic. It's a cult classic. No one can speak ill will of The Evil Dead. How dare you decide to make fun of The Evil Dead in the entire series? Oh, it's perfect. Oh, don't make fun of it. So, hello, this is the Pope on Film podcast, and The Evil Dead is a ripoff of the 1970 film Equinox. Good night, everybody! That is it right there. Let's just say it. Sam Raimi saw Equinox and said, hey, what if we make this but gory? And that's how he got The Evil Dead. It's basically, so much of it is the same movie. Same movie. Nobody wants to say it, but goddammit, it's true. So, let's do a little story time. Dennis Muren. That's the guy. That's the guy. He's that guy. Dennis Muren is an Academy Award-winning special effects artist, having worked on films like Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, The Abyss, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the Star Wars movies, all six of them, all six of the original Star Wars movies. He worked on the Disneyland ride Captain EO, for shit's sake.
He did.
And of course, the biggest thing that Dennis Muren ever did, bigger than Jurassic Park, bigger than E.T., bigger than Star Wars, he worked on the Academy Award-winning, Oscar Award-winning, Best Picture winner, Hulk, the Ang Lee version.
Oh.
Probably the biggest thing he's ever done. I mean, E.T., sure, but Hulk dogs.
I might have
those
missed
Dennis.
it, but did you mention Star Lost?
No, I did not mention that.
Okay. Early 70s, a cheap Canadian science fiction show, which was actually pretty good. This was one of the... They were trying to get on the cutting edge, Dennis Muren was.
Yeah.
And so he shot it all blue screen. The whole show was shot blue screen. And they filled it in. Star Wars, this was before Star Wars. Star Wars didn't even use that kind of blue screen.
Yeah.
You know? It was a cute show. It was these three people from this quaint little town called Cypress Hills. A farmer, a blacksmith, and a school teacher who find out that they are actually in a big generation ship. And it's off course. So they had to find their way through the ship, running into basically different civilizations, trying to find the bridge and correct the course.
Yeah.
But you can always see props that Dennis Muren had made from other movies.
Nice.
You know? Like the containers in 2001, he reused those in Silent Running. And he reused them in Star Lost.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done a ridiculous amount of things.
Yeah.
And an award winner and shit.
Yeah. You see that ship, and you could see that he took apart the ships from Silent Running, rearranged them, and made this ship.
It's pretty awesome that you can do that. You know, that you can sort of piece that together and figure out, you know, it's like it makes all of the movies he worked on a Where's Waldo.
Yes.
So, way before this bitch got big, Dennis Muren was a young-ass student at Pasadena City College in the 1960s. He and his buddies decided to make a short film with a very small budget and with the exact same camera as Manos: The Hands of Fate, which is why I say that this film is like Manos made good. And yeah, like you said, this was basically just like a sizzle reel of what Dennis Muren could do with special effects.
And whoever else was involved, because again, there was some very interesting camera work, which is what tells me is whoever was doing the camera work, that was their turn to try to show off.
Yeah.
You know, and have a bit of something for their reel. Ooh, look, I zoomed in on the hospital sign. You know? I mean, I mean, it was kind of a good shot. We were following. Oh my God, I forget what we were following. Were we following an ambulance? I don't know. I think we were following a dude. I forget. But anyway, they follow that with the camera and then stop. And as that thing goes away, you see where it's the sign for the hospital. And then they zoom slowly in on it.
Yeah, so it's like a sizzle reel.
Not a great shot, not a great shot, but a better shot than you expect out of this movie.
Yeah. So Dennis Muren, he films Equinox as a short film, like about an hour. And with all the special effects, the model work that he does, and then the stop motion and the matte paintings that he uses, it costs about $6,000 to make. And it took about 2.5 years to make. They filmed an hour of footage, and that was that. Then in 1970, this film got in the hands of movie producer Jack H. Hanna, the man who in the late 50s produced the original film The Blob, and then shortly after that, he produced the film 4D Man. And after that, he had a long career making a bunch of shit. Shout out to the Pope on Film, Episode 4, APE.
Yes.
A film that is also known as Attack of the Giant Horny Gorilla. This film also bears the name of Jack H. Hanna.
That's
he also did the sequel to The Blob called Beware the Blob.
He did,
which featured Laverne, I think, or
no,
one of
Shirley.
Shirley. Yeah. I feel that we've covered this film, but I don't know when or to what effect.
I think we've just talked about it.
Okay, I feel like we covered it, but yeah, I might be mistaken. So Jack Hanna sees this movie and says, "Hey, it's pretty good. It's a bit original. It's got some good special effects." So he hires a guy named Jack Woods to film 20 more minutes of the footage to make Equinox feature length. Then Jack H. Hanna releases Equinox in theaters, and here's the crazy ass part. Jack H. Hanna lists Jack Woods as the fucking director and not Dennis Muren.
Oh.
And that's a fucking dick move. He lists Dennis Muren as like an executive producer.
Yeah, that's a total dick
Despite
move.
the fact that he wrote, produced, and directed the majority of this fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably said this before in episode 4 of the Pope on Film, but I'll say it again. Fuck Jack H. Hanna.
Yes.
Fuck this man.
Fuck him
straight
up his ass.
Yeah. But Dennis Muren was screwed, but he did end up working for Industrial Light and Magic, so just fuck Jack H. Hanna. Jack H. Hanna also redubbed the voices Manos style, so the film was entirely done in as a silent film. And then Dennis Muren had the actors dub over the film, and then when Jack H. Hanna got the film, he said, okay, I'm going to dub over those voices. So it was like Manos, the people who worked on Equinox like 3 years earlier, go to the movie premiere to see their film, and suddenly they have completely different voices.
I have to find Crimes of the Future for you. I got it here somewhere. I forget what format I have it in. But yeah, because it was silent, and it was so like obvious that they were trying to cover up that it was silent. When the doctor was talking to the guy in his bed, and all you see of the doctor is the microphone that he's holding out.
Yeah.
It's like, they're dubbing the lines in after there. He's probably saying the lines, but yeah.
I was surprised at how many times in Equinox you saw people talk.
Yeah. So,
it was obvious that Dennis Muren didn't fully know what he was doing, because there were way too many shots of people's lips moving for a film that was done silent.
Yeah.
Because I've seen enough films that were shot silent and dubbed later to know that you should not be seeing this many people talk. Or at least nobody does that. That's just not what people do, you know?
But you know, if you are already giving an incredibly bland reading of your lines for the movie, I bet you that's really easy to replicate.
That's a good point.
You just get them in the recording booth, and you're like, okay, do it the way you did it on the day when we shot this. Remember that? Remember how you felt? How you felt like deep down, like you couldn't give a fucking shit. Okay, remember that feeling that you just didn't care about what you were doing. You just wanted to get it the fuck over with, and that's it. Yeah, do it again just like that.
Yeah.
Just be like, no, cut. You put too much effort into it.
Yeah, you were trying too much. Yeah. Anyway, the film did nothing at the box office, but it made enough money that Dennis Muren actually made his money back. So he got his investment money back. So good for him. Personally, I think the movie is entertaining shit, but shit nonetheless. And if it wasn't for the fact that the filmmaker won a bunch of Oscars much later in his career, then no one would give two fucks for Equinox.
It had a kind of a creepy through line, and then stop motion monsters. Stop motion monsters is pretty much good enough for me. You give me that, I'm good with the movie.
Yeah. Sketchy, shut up. Grow some balls, dog. Just because your owner isn't around you doesn't mean you have to cry. Natasha's not here. You don't see me crying about it. Grow some balls, dog.
Yes.
Wah, wah, wah. That's what you sound like, dog. I'm dog shaming you. This freaking dog. So that is it for homework this week, and we here at the Pope on Film podcast sincerely hope that your eyes, minds, and browser history have all been suitably opened. But don't think you're getting out of here that easily, Buck Chacho, a combination of bucko and muchacho, verbal copyright 2018, the Pope on Film podcast, all rights reserved. Don't forget next week's homework, and for next week, we will be diving taint first into the world of Mexican cultures with the first 2 episodes of the Mexican children's show called El Chavo.
Okay.
It's on Netflix, and it has English subtitles. It also has the most annoying theme song ever. It's probably the single most popular TV show with the most recognizable characters in all of Mexican history.
Okay.
they're so recognized that there's a good chance that you could watch this show and go, oh, that kid, I've seen his face on food at the supermarket. Or there's a good chance you'll see these episodes and go, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that play every Saturday and Sunday morning at 6 a.m. on Telemundo since I was 5.
Yeah.
That's how popular this freaking show is. The numbers of how popular this show is ridiculous. I'm not going to go into it here on how popular this show is or what it means to me, which is not a lot. But we're going to dive into that next week. So join us next week for the first 2 episodes of El Chavo on Netflix. That will be our homework next week. So join us next week for more of Homework with the Pope on Film podcast. And cut on that. Now, we still have a movie to talk about. We still have to talk about ghosts. We still have to talk about Casey Affleck. Okay. We still have to talk about James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy. We have to talk about Disney and Pete's Dragon. We have to talk about my problem with movie reviewers. But before we get to any of that, maybe we should take a break. Should we take a break?
We should take a break.
All right. I concur. We should take a break. We will be right back with more of the Pope on Film after these commercial messages. Do 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 and cut.
Bob would like to take a moment to salute Boy George. You were one brave little cocksucker.
I do have a nickname for my penis. I call it the Octagon.
I will destroy you with my turbo glove, the ultimate weapon against the robot threat. But to be a true hero, you'll have to save your girlfriend.
Hey! What's that in your hand?
It's a comic book.
What's it about?
It's about Turbo Rider.
That's rad!
I always wonder what the other side looked like.
It's kind of gray and dusty. Well, I could show you.
Around here, we like to do things with a little more joie de vivre.
Where is she? Release the girl!
This is gonna get ugly.
As you may know, the situation is critical. We have reached maximum casualty level.
Who exactly are you supposed to be?
Turbo Rider.
This is it, soldier. We have to hit these damn machines with everything we've got.
Find them, kill them, and knee back their heads on pikes.
I'm meeting up with an old mate. We're going straight to Zeus. What do you say? Let's roll. The fate of our future is in your hand.
I wish I could have been more like the real Turbo Rider.
But you could totally be Turbo Kid.
And we're back with more of the Pope on Film. And now if I can bring it down a little bit, change the mood a little bit.
Yes.
I'd like to take it down a bit. Bunny, I got a question for you.
Okay.
If you could answer me honestly, that would be appreciated. Bunny,
yes.
Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Why not?
I do not believe in anything supernatural.
You don't believe in anything supernatural?
No.
Oh, if Natasha was here and heard that, you would be so busted.
For what?
Because she's a big fan of Supernatural.
Oh, okay. Duh.
Yeah.
Yes,
now you ask me. Now, Bunny, you ask me if I believe in ghosts.
Dear Reverend Steve, Pope of our most holy order, do you believe in ghosts?
Nah, Tommy. That's just kiddie spook stories. Once you're dead, you stay dead. I don't know, Bill. Out there on the battlefield, I saw a woman dressed in white, floating above the dunes. Maybe it's just fatigue, or maybe it's the indignities of war, or maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I see something. I offer you mortals the bird of peace, so that you may change your ways and end this destruction. What a show. Everyone was terrific. Paul, your second act monologue nearly gave me the chills. Aw, thanks. Here comes the early edition, hot off the presses. This is our big moment. Oh, what did that old queen know? She didn't even show. Sent her copy boy to do the dirty work. Screw you, Miss Crowley. Do I really have a face like a horse? What does ostentatious mean? Oh, come on, guys, you can't focus on the negative. Look, the soldiers' costumes were very realistic. That's positive. Rave of the century. Well, I've seen a lot worse reviews. I've seen reviews where they didn't even mention the costumes. Like that last Francis the Mule picture. It got terrible notices. Huge hit. Lines around the block.
Yes.
And I'm going to end it there. I could go on.
I know. One day I will be there. It is a goal.
Okay. I was really proud of Bella. The other day, it was the weekend, and the kids were just... Maxwell had watched a lot of TV. He wasn't watching TV anymore, and Bella was done watching YouTube videos of people talking about video games, and she was bored, and I didn't have anything I wanted to watch. So she just said, you know what we should do? Maybe like once a week, we should just watch some old movie. Watch some old black and white film, some old film that Daddy has on the hard drive or on the PlayStation or here at home that it's before. Like I don't think Maxwell has seen this. Maxwell hasn't seen this. I'm going to put this on. And she Isabella, of her own volition, put on Ed Wood.
Nice.
And I was so proud of her, and she was watching it and really paying attention to it. Like, she's seen it before, but she hasn't paid attention in a long time. So that was, and Maxwell had never really seen Ed Wood.
Really?
So that was cool. It's difficult to get Maxwell to watch any movie that doesn't have Legos involved.
Yeah. I can see that.
Speaking of, the other day I movie ninja'd my wife. She was just on the couch, and I was on the couch, and we were watching some YouTube videos, and I got bored. So I just decided to put a movie on, and for whatever reason, I just picked the Lego Batman movie, and apparently she had never seen it.
Really?
She had never seen it. She never paid attention. She had been in the room while it had been on, but she had never paid attention to it. So suddenly she's on the couch on her phone, and she's like, what the fuck are you watching? Wait, is that the Wicked Witch of the West? Wait, Gremlins are in this? Yeah, she was blown away. Wait, what the hell is that movie? Is that the movie you were in? That's Jerry Maguire. You're watching Jerry Maguire? Oh, so that's why Maxwell says, hello, secret camera, 10 times a day.
Oh.
Hello, secret camera. Yeah, we've been quoting it all week, and just, it randomly, Natasha will just go, snake clowns. So yeah, really proud of that. It was a good It was a good movie ninjing.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Anyway, I asked that.
the part when Robin without the suit.
Yeah, I know you like that part. You say it over and over again. My favorite part is when they're at the gala and Robin's introducing himself. My name is Richard Grayson, but all the kids call me Dick. And Bruce Wayne goes, "Well, children can be cruel." I love that. That's really cool. You're getting Alfredo sauce on your fingers. You're gonna have to work on that. So anyway, I asked that question, Bunny, if you believe in ghosts, because this week's movie is a ghost movie, both in a literal and a figurative sense. Meaning, this week's movie deals with ghosts. It also deals with time and loss. And it is also a ghost movie in that if you're really still and you hold your breath, and if you look really closely, you can almost see an actual fucking movie in this piece of shit.
This has really got to be the biggest pretentious piece of shit I've ever seen.
And I mean, the director is a big-ass deal, and he got Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara to star.
Oh, was that Casey Affleck?
In one sitting.
I thought he looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. Yeah, that was Casey Affleck.
Yeah, this is a film with a big cast and a big director and a challenging and original premise, and yet this film somehow manages to still be shit. Like really, is this movie real? Does it even really exist at all? Oh shit, it's a ghost movie.
Those are good and legitimate questions.
Yeah. I am being haunted by the grim specter of an actual film with an actual plot where things actually happen. I mean, I feel like I'm giving away too much because, I mean, technically we're still in the opening of the movie. We haven't even gotten to the actual segment yet. But see, that's how much this week's movie fucking pissed me off. How does this shitty movie have so good of a Rotten Tomatoes score? And what does that say about my problem with movie reviewers? We'll get to all of this and more this week on the Pope on Film podcast as we tackle the 2017 experimental art house supernatural ghost drama Thing, 2017's A Ghost Story. Yeah, just really lower it.
And what's kind of amusing is that I have seen the beginning of this movie without sound like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Because when I go into the Pope on Film vaults to find the movie that we're going to be doing that week, I would always look at that and not be sure of what it is, so I would have to play it until the title came up.
Yeah.
So I gave it the benefit of the doubt that, you know, I'm not listening to it with sound, so maybe it really doesn't suck or anything like that. It looked boring as shit without the sound, and it was boring as shit.
Yeah.
And what the good fuck? Really, what the good fuck? So I thought my Roku locked up when they were both in bed.
Yeah, there's a 5-minute falling asleep scene.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, God damn. It's like, this is what I expected Equinox to be. We have to make this short film into a feature-length film. How can we do that? I know. Let's have them climb this mountain for 7 minutes. That's what I thought. Equinox was going to be our homework segment for today, in case you haven't been paying attention. But instead, it was the feature-length film. Anyway, we're talking about 2017's A Ghost Story, and every time I mention this film, I say 2017's A Ghost Story, and I have to say 2017's A Ghost Story because this film had one of the top most generic titles of all films made in 2017.
Yes.
I say one of the top because I'm not sure which is number one. 2017's A Ghost Story or the 2017 Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler movie, The House. Because I said over and over again, oh, hey, you know what movie I got, guys? I just got The House. And they all say, what? And I go, God damn it. Okay, Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler, a casino in their house. Oh, that film. Wait, that's what it's called? I had that conversation with everyone in this house. And we still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Even though we own it. So yeah, when it comes to generic titles of films in 2017, it's A Ghost Story, and then there's A House. And let's also not forget the most generic movie title of 2017, It.
It, yes.
Yeah, that's really generic. So I have a theory as to the making of 2017's A Ghost Story. I have a theory as to why it came to be, as to how it came to be. I have a theory as to the making of this film. But to fully explain it, I need to talk some more about director James Gunn.
Okay.
James Gunn was a low-budget horror director.
Yes.
He made films for Troma Studios. Troma Studios!
Yeah, he worked for Troma Studios. I believe he wrote Romeo and Juliet. And then after Troma, he did other things with Troma as well, maybe Terra Firma, I'm not exactly sure. But after that, then he did a couple of movies on his own, which was Slither.
Did he do Teeth?
No, Teeth. I fucking hated. Oh my god! Teeth is a one joke movie.
Yeah, it was either Teeth or Splinter or Shiver or something like that.
Yeah, it was Slither. Yeah. Giant slugs and ticks and things like that. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a very fun movie. That movie had a lot of James Gunn's humor in it.
Yeah.
You know? Then he did some pretentious shit after that. I forget what it was. And then pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, he didn't do a whole hell of a lot of movies on his own.
Yeah, but he was making some like low budget movies, and then out of nowhere, because Marvel is looking for some different directors to make their movies. Obviously, just look at the last Thor. He writes and directs Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
and
man. Talk about smacking a home fucking run on that one.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Electric Boogaloo, and those films just rocket James Gunn into the mainstream, and suddenly James Gunn is a big name in Hollywood, a big name Hollywood director. But let me tell you something. You can take the director out of Troma, but you can't take Troma out of the director. James Gunn was an indie underground director who took chances and didn't give a fuck. And then he's a big Hollywood director in the blink of an eye. So what does James Gunn do? He follows Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 up with the graphic and violent and some might say disturbing film, The Belko Experiment. Why? Because he misses his roots.
Yeah, right. It was The Belko. Yeah.
Indie roots. You follow me on this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Basically, that is also the story of the creation of this week's movie, 2017's A Ghost Story. Because the director of this film is a guy named David Lowery, a man with a mustache so big it's rated NC-17. This is such a big mustache that, like, when I first saw his picture, I'm like, are we sure that this is the director of A Ghost Story and not the one porn wrestler from Lucha Underground?
Yeah.
Who keeps a lollipop in his briefs? David Lowery is at his heart an indie art house director with artsy indie movies like Saint Nick, Ain't Them Body Saints, and a number of other works no one has seen or heard of. He made movies his way with a very limited budget, so it must have really sort of crushed his soul a bit when Disney came a-knocking.
Yeah.
The Disney Corporation gave him a massive-ass budget to do Pete's Dragon in 2016.
Okay, the live action one with the weird.
Yeah, the live action.
The
live action one that people seem to like. I didn't bother to see it because I never gave a shit about the original Pete's Dragon.
Yeah.
Let alone this big budget remake. But like James Gunn, suddenly David Lowery is directing a big fucking corporate summer blockbuster, and that has to hurt your inner artist, right?
Yeah.
That's gotta really hurt doing indie movies that are celebrated, and suddenly you're making a film that's on that's on socks at a Disney theme park.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really gotta hurt you inside.
I don't know, because I think I would be too proud that I pulled it off.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going from something like Slither and Troma movies to an enormous movie like Guardians of the Galaxy, where Marvel just kind of plucks you up and then looks at you sideways and says, "It's all up to you, kid. It's all up to you."
Yeah, the good thing about Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that James Gunn said, "Oh God, I'm kind of nervous. You want me to make a superhero movie? Me? Okay, well here's the script." And then Disney read it and said, "Okay, here's the script back. We want you to rewrite it, but can you make it more of a James Gunn film?" And James Gunn is like, "Are you fucking serious? You know who I am, right? I mean, okay, I can do it, but just, are you sure?" So, like, good for Marvel. I imagine it's much different when you're directly dealing with the fucking Disney machine, you know?
Yeah.
Because Marvel is just like one step away from the Disney machine. Enough that they can say, "Hey, let's hire these unknowns and give them these big fucking franchises." So, what does David Lowery do after Pete's Dragon? And oh man, do I mean after, because literally 2 days after wrapping up Pete's Dragon, he films a movie in secret, and it cost him $100,000 to make.
Oh, nice. What was that?
This week's fucking movie is what.
Oh, this week's movie. Okay.
He filmed it in secret. He secretly filmed this movie for only $100,000. And he started 2 days after making Pete's Dragon. He found a house that looked a lot like his old house in Texas, and he was able to film it in this house for free. Why? Because the house had just been evicted and it was going to be torn down.
Nice. That's definitely a good find. Yeah.
Yeah. So the director is like, "Hey, you're about to tear down this house. Before you tear it down, can we film a movie here?" And then the people who own the house said, "Oh, well, yeah, we're gonna tear it down, so yeah, you can film here for free."
Yeah.
And they were able to do whatever the hell they wanted with the fucking house, because it doesn't matter what they do to the house because it's going to be torn down. Not only that, but they got the tearing down of the house in the movie.
So where the hell did the $100,000 go? You know, I mean that's
a lot of it.
That's the biggest part of your budget right there.
A surprising amount of it went to the creation of the outfit that Casey Affleck wore, because originally the director was like, the original film started out as the idea of, I want to make a horror film. I want to make a film featuring a ghost, but it's literally just, it's an actual ghost, but he has a sheet with holes in it. He just liked that visual of, this is an actual ghost that looks like a fake ghost. That was basically the entire genesis of the film. So he said, "Oh, this will be the easiest thing in the world. We'll get a sheet, put some holes in it. Here you go. And this looks horrible." Okay, well, let's redo it a little bit. Let's sew this on it, and here you go. This looks great. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. It looks like shit. And so they had to keep doing it over and over again. They actually, a lot of Casey Affleck in this movie is like puppetry work. They had like a hidden section of like wires and strings to keep his outfit on the right way.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He was like fucking Pinocchio with strings. He was like all Geppettoed up with this because they couldn't get it the right way, and so a lot of them, the 100,000, just went to that.
Yeah.
So,
but he's fucking standing still. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
He's standing still. Move the camera a little bit. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah. It's an artistic ghost story that's less about ghosts and more about loss and letting go and time and other bullshit topics that stuck-up movie reviewers eat the fuck up. And while we're here, let's discuss movie reviewers for a second, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Bunny, what are your thoughts on movie reviewers?
For the most part, they're pretty much shit. I have not read a good movie reviewer in quite a long time. The biggest problem is, like I've said a million times, if they don't understand it, they call it brilliant. You know?
Yeah.
This is not fucking brilliant. This is boring. This is boring as hell. I got the point. When the ghost got up on the table that we had to stare at for 10 motherfucking minutes. You know?
Yeah. So
what's the point? Are you trying to show me that eternity as a ghost is long and boring? Hey, mission fucking accomplished, but that doesn't make it good.
Right. So this is my problem with movie reviewers, with most movie reviewers out there, both in print and on a number of websites. In order to be a movie reviewer, people go to college and get degrees and get graduate degrees and then go through film school and go through journalism school and get these degrees. And by the time they come out, they are elitists.
Yes.
They are stuck-up elitists who will automatically hate all blockbusters because they can't give a positive review to a film everyone's going to like. Yeah. The Fleebs.
Well, a movie reviewer is like the gym teacher of the film industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Those who can't teach gym. That's a film critic. What baby? Those that can't teach. Yes. And those who can't teach gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what this was like. I mean, they did a bunch of random shots that really didn't mean anything. Look, man, I dissected the fuck out of what is it, okay? If there was any goddamn meaning in this movie, I would find it. You know?
Yeah, it's like this film was tailor-made just to get movie reviewers' dicks hard.
Yeah.
But nobody else. In fact, let's talk about the reviews. People came in their khakis over this stupid-ass movie. The Wall Street Journal said it was, quote, deeply affecting. I won't forget it for a long time to come. Oh, shut the hell up, Wall Street Journal. Yeah. You won't forget it for a long time to come? Yeah, you know what else people don't forget for a long time? Sexual assault.
Yes.
The New York Times said that the film was, quote, ingenious, strange, and intense. You know who was ingenious, strange, and intense? Andy Kaufman was ingenious, strange, and intense. This was just boring as shit.
This was. It looked very paint by numbers to me. You know, with the camera holding way, way, way too long on things.
Yeah.
That's not genius. That's lazy.
Yeah. NPR said that the film was a meditation on legacy, on our enduring need to endure. The Washington Post.
That's not even a real sentence.
Yeah. The Washington Post said that the film haunts with the persistence of a dog.
What does that mean?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Hold on. Can you say it again? I want Jeannie to hear this. I'm just going to say.
The Washington Post said that
the Washington Post said that
haunts you with the persistence of a dog.
haunts you with the persistence of a dog.
Hey, how you doing? You want to get haunted today? You want to get haunted today?
Squirrel.
You want to get haunted?
Yeah. What the fuck does that even mean? No.
Empire Magazine.
This is a student film. This is a
Empire Magazine said that the film was, quote, at times an emotionally shattering fable. To be fair, I agree with that review because I was emotionally shattered when I thought I was at the 55-minute mark and I was only at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
I was emotionally shattered by that. This is my favorite review right here from Common Sense Media. They said that this is what they said about the film. Quote, I was profoundly moved. The film takes you to a soul-stirring cosmic place. Wow. Apparently, Common Sense Media wants to fuck a ghost story.
What was so cosmic about that? What was cosmic?
And soul-stirring. I don't know. Maybe when they saw the film, Casey Affleck had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Maybe, or maybe they just finished sniffing cocaine, so it wasn't nearly as long for them as it, the first thing that caught my attention, and it was something I had also called, was when the shit flew off the shelf, and I was like, okay, maybe something's gonna happen in this fucking movie now. And I checked the time, and we're 40 minutes in. And no, there wasn't anything else even remotely like it. I mean, again, I can get into a good art flick from time to time.
Yeah.
This was not an art film.
I called the fact that in the beginning of the film, there's a noise and the piano is played and Casey Affleck goes to check it out. The only thing I knew about the film was that it took a long time and there's a lot of shots that just stick on the action and there's a lot of scenes where nothing happens and that Casey Affleck is a ghost. That's all I knew about the film. So when Casey Affleck goes to figure out what the noise is, what I said in my head was, I don't know how this is going to be possible, but somehow dead Casey Affleck made that noise that Casey Affleck is checking out.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And I called that. I have no idea how I called that, but I called that. So
I don't understand. I don't understand what made them think. And again, like I said, I just think it's lazy filmmaking. What is the point of watching her sit there eating a pie? Okay.
I don't know, but Destiny really felt that scene.
Yeah.
Destiny really felt that scene, and she's sitting next to me, and I'm watching it this afternoon on the tablet, and Destiny goes, "What the hell are you watching?" And I said, "Oh, I'm watching a really depressed woman whose husband just died sit on the floor, slightly crying and eating an entire pie in one sitting." And she's like, "Yeah, same."
Yeah.
Same. I really relate to that. I really relate to the scene of a depressed woman sitting on the floor eating an entire pie in one sitting. But here is
can she relate to it for that fucking long?
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the proof that everything that I'm saying about critics is right. This movie, 2017's A Ghost Story, currently has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's certified fresh.
That is pretty amazing.
But the audience score is 66%. And I think that proves my point. That this pretentious art house piece of shit, of course the critics love, because the critics are all fucking, I'd hate to say it, but liberal elitists.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's what was really pissing me off. How long do we have to look at the steel table here? You know? We got it. he's dead.
Oh my God! Yeah, seeing the dead body, it just stays there. It just stays for the longest time until he gets up. Oh my God! For a film called A Ghost Story, there's a lot of nothing going on in this fucking movie.
And then the ghost had to walk all the way the fuck home?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
He couldn't catch an Uber at least.
And here's a little tip for everybody listening. If you're going to move to a new house, have the decency, the common decency, to also take the ghost with you.
Yes.
Poor Mexican family.
It's very rude. It's like abandoning a dog or a cat when you move.
Yeah.
You know,
poor fucking Mexican family gets a bunch of broken dishes because Casey Affleck is a dick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's massive patches of the film where I thought that I had paused the film. There's the 5-minute falling asleep scene in the beginning.
Yeah.
And massive patches of this film go past without any dialogue whatsoever. Then there's the oh so thrilling walking through the hospital scene.
Yeah.
And there were a few times when I found myself just screaming, "Do something."
Oh, God, yes.
I felt like this film was a fetish. And I'm not sure if this is an actual fetish, but like a sexual fetish where you're turned on by mundane things. Like, ooh,
yeah.
Look at that woman. She's folding clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, look at that woman. She's taking the trash out. And so this whole film is secretly like a fetish film. And oh, look, a 6-minute dishwashing scene.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a depressed woman eating an entire pie in one unedited sitting.
Mm-hmm. And there was also the scene where the ghost was looking into a closet or something. I'm not sure what he was doing. All I know is that you saw the ghost and everything else around him was pretty much black.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but on my television, if it has to deal with like solid black, it gets a little pixelation.
Yeah.
That's the only way I knew that it was actually still playing.
Yeah.
Because he was just standing there, and okay, the pixelation is moving. It must still be playing.
And let me tell you something. I have been at parties where that drunken asshole guy was there. I swear to God, I have been at parties with that drunken asshole monologuist. And I'm like, hey, I'm at a party. Let me tell you how we're all going to die.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I have been to that party. I have been there. I have heard him talk. I have politely excused myself from his annoying fucking conversation.
It was kind of amusing at first because, again, it was one of the few rare times that anything actually happened in this movie. You know,
and also you could tell it was one of those screenplay tropes where here's the guy who's actually telling you the entire crux of the film.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's obvious that this guy knows what the movie's about.
But my overriding feeling when he was on the screen is like, you know what, movie? I don't care. This is a little too little. It's a little too late.
So two things about this movie. Number one, I have an idea for that came to me from this film. So Casey Affleck, the younger brother of Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck. I looked up Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
You would not believe what his real name is.
Wait a second.
Let me tell you what his real name is.
Kevin,
this is his actual name.
Kevin Charles.
No, his name is Caleb Casey McGuire Affleck Bolted.
That's not a name.
Caleb Casey McGuire Affleck -BOLDT. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Bold it. Like, how do you have 5 names? How is that even possible?
Yeah.
So Casey Affleck plays the ghost. When he's alive, there are times when he looks like he's starring in a very serious Torgo prequel.
Okay.
But Casey Affleck plays the ghost, and he got a lot of pushback in 2017 because of Me Too and a number of sexual harassment allegations surrounding him.
Yeah.
So here's my new idea of what to do when someone has a sexual harassment allegation against them. We should force Casey Affleck, whenever he's walking in public, like a sort of Handmaid's Tale punishment. Whenever Casey Affleck is walking in public, we force him to dress in his costume.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Whenever Casey Affleck is walking in public, we force him to wear that stupid ghost outfit. I am so upset that not once in this film he said, "I got a rock." I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah. That would have been good.
Casey Affleck dressed as the ghost reminds me of Ulysses Claw. No, not Claw. But what was the name of the bad guy in Captain America: Civil War? In Captain America: Civil War, they just made him just this husband who's out for revenge, but then in reality, he's like a serious bad guy in the comic books.
Baron Zemo or something like that?
Yes, Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo is so disgusted with all of the atrocities, all the Nazi atrocities that he did, that he glued his mask onto his face permanently so that he can never see his own face. Basically, that's what we need to do with Casey Affleck and his costume from this week's movie. Because not only is he like a sexual harasser and a sexual abuser, but also this is a horrible fucking movie. So we basically need to glue this outfit onto him.
I'm gonna totally agree on that.
Thank you.
He doesn't get a pass. He cannot be allowed to have a pass.
Yeah. So that's number one. And my last thing I want to say about this film, I was so sad, so depressed. I saw the film a second time, and I said, "Oh, this film is really fucking horrible. This is a horrible fucking film." Wait, there is one thing that can make this film better. One thing that could make this my favorite movie of all time. One thing. So let me cross my fingers. Let me cross 2 fingers. Let me cross all my fingers. Let me go online. Damn it! There's no riff tracks. Because it would be a perfect film for riff tracks because there's like no fucking dialogue.
Yeah. If I was going to do a riff tracks on that, I would set it up so a bunch of us are playing cards.
Not only that, but I also feel that, like, if we give him enough money and beer, I bet Casey Affleck would riff it too. If we give him enough, Miller High Life and weed, I'm pretty sure he would riff the film as well.
Yeah.
But, oh, how good would that be? This would be a perfect riff tracks.
Well, yeah, but you can't really diss directly on the movie, you know? So I would think you would just have to do something else and just look back at the movie and just be like, yeah, nothing happening yet, and go back to whatever you were doing.
Yeah, this is a horrible movie. And I thought that this would be so bad that it would be, like, funny, but no, this was a fucking marathon. This was one of those films where I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, how much time do I have left? Okay, I have 42 minutes left. I can do 42 minutes left. Yeah, 42 minutes, that's fine. There were episodes of The Office that were 42 minutes. I've got this.
Yes.
You know, one of those movies that's so bad that you're doing movie math.
Yeah. And then you're like,
minutes.
Yeah. Then you're like, okay, I got to check the time. How long has it been now?
Yeah. One of those
41
movies.
minutes.
Horrible.
Yeah. And pretentious bullshit. Bullshit. And there go critics. They don't know what to make out of it, so they're going to say they loved it and it was genius. I mean, I think since we've been doing the podcast, you see this now, right? I mean, it's right in front of everybody's faces. The conspiracy is right there. You know, open your eyes, sheeple, okay? See the true reality beyond the Matrix, okay?
Yeah. It's fucked up. Anyway, this movie's boring as fuck, and I'm done with it at the end. Next week!
Yes.
Avengers Infinity War.
Guardians of the Galaxy Infinity War.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Oh, yeah. Just one last note on this. And I was trying to type it out to you in a message, but like I was too angry at the movie. You know what this movie was like, really?
What?
Do you remember that episode of the original Star Trek where the people who were like really...
Hold on, I didn't hear you. That episode of what?
The original Star Trek, where they had found those people who were like accelerated, and they accelerated Kirk because they needed some help with something. So you just see Scotty standing in the doorway through the whole fucking episode. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
That's exactly what this movie was like. Like we were watching Scotty for the whole episode.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of Drax, but we will speak about that next week.
Yes, next week is going to be much more exciting because next week we'll be doing Avengers Infinity War. I've got a very strong theory as to what the next Avengers film is going to be, and this time I think I'm right. There's a lot more we're going to be talking about. I've got an exciting new segment for the podcast called Classic Film Monologues, where I'll be doing different versions of classic movie monologues in history.
Nice. Okay. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be talking about the WWE. We're going to be talking about a new movie that's at the theaters that I haven't heard anybody talk about, that I'm very excited about.
Hey.
Bella and I talked through it. Bella loves the idea. Steve's Historical Approximations next week is going to be about the Nobel Prize and fake news. And for homework, we're watching the first 2 episodes of the most popular Mexican television show in the history of Mexico, a children's show called El Chavo. We're going to be watching the first 2 episodes, all of the episodes. Well, not all of the episodes because it's been on for like 30 years. but it's on Netflix and it has English subtitles. That's a very important part. That's a very, very important part. Basically, what I'm saying is for the first time ever, I'll be able to watch this show and understand what the fuck it means. And that's a big-ass deal for me, and I'm very excited to finally understand what this fucking show's about.
Yes.
So that's next week. Full episode next week. Very excited about it. But now, looking back at this episode, I gotta say, I kind of like this week's movie because not a lot of a ghost story. 2017's a ghost story because it's so bad, but also no one knows of this movie's fucking existence.
No.
You know, so it's kind of like a secret thing that I kind of like. Like no one has seen this fucking film. I forgot to mention. The film was made for only $100,000, and that's a ridiculously small price, especially nowadays. So when the film bombed in the box office and only made a little over $1 million, everyone was like, "Oh, that film was a bomb." But then the director's like, "Oh my God, that's huge." When you consider how much he made the movie for, this was a blockbuster win for him.
Oh God, yes, it was. Sure. Yeah. That's what, 9 times on return?
Yeah. For a $100,000 film to make $1.4 million in the box office, goddamn, that's a huge fucking success. Sadly,
yeah, he made $900,000.
Yeah, I know. When I saw it, like my
who has
my
been
jaw
putting
dropped.
dishes away? Because Amber did the dishes, and their shit's still sitting there from when Amber did the dishes. So
I put dishes away when I did dishes.
Well, then I didn't use the cup last night. I used it on Wednesday.
Oh, well, maybe I didn't. I thought I did.
You must not have, because Amber washed those and put those over there, and they're still there.
Okay.
So that should have been put up before your dishes got done. Like, between you and I can't have night. I can't have night.
I'm sorry.
I can't have
I'm sorry that your cup broke.
Me too. I mean, and it was inevitable the second that I bought them and decided to use it.
But also, like, kind of positive thing, because, oh, man, now we got to go back to the brewery.
Oh, man, I'm going back to the brewery in October.
Okay.
This has been a damn good episode.
Thank you. This has been a damn good episode.
Bonnie, I got some words about next week's movie.
Oh, yeah, everybody has some words about next week's movie, except Maxwell.
Cool.
And that's good. So, I concur. This has been a damn good episode.
So until next week, I am Bunny Williams.
And I am Reverend Steve. And on behalf of Bella and Amber and Emerald and Maxwell and everybody else in the house, I just want to say thanks for listening. And we will see you next week, you godless heathens. Do 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 do. Cut and print.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people, to see if we could become something more. So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Evacuate the city. Engage all defenses. And get this man a shield.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.